apology for a COVID fiasco. Gladys Berejiklian says sorry for the mistakes with the Ruby Princess, a cruise that cost 28 lives. But will heads roll? Schools become the battleground for controlling Sydney's COVID spread, the new restrictions affecting every student. 25 lives lost in Victoria, a new daily record as the inquiry into the state's hotel quarantine hears staggering evidence about basics that were ignored. A toddler is among 4 people injured in this 6-car pile-up in Sydney's south. A police officer is accused of causing the crash, while 2 times the legal alcohol limit. A river rescue in Emu Plains, 4 men pulled from the Nepean River after their 4-wheel drive was swept away. And 40 years after the death of Azaria Chamberlain, we speak exclusively to the man who found the crucial evidence at the heart of Australia's most notorious wrongful conviction.
This is 10 News First, Sydney, with Hugh Riminton.
Well, good evening. First tonight, it has been almost 5 months since they stepped off the Ruby Princess, but for the first time, passengers have heard the words many needed to hear. Premier Gladys Berejiklian has unreservedly apologised for errors by state health officials that cost 28 lives and led to more than 660 infections in Australia alone.
Enjoying the sunset as they sailed towards Sydney on the Ruby Princess, Ken Reid films his wife laughing in the strong winds. They had no idea what was about to hit them.
Very stressful, especially back in March, April when we were so unwell, and every day it was just a tsunami of terrible news, and it just kept getting worse and worse.
Ken tested positive just days after stepping off the ship. His wife's result was negative, but she still had all the symptoms. Almost 5 months later, they still worry about what will happen next.
The cruise shouldn't have proceeded. They should have deemed it unsafe.
But today, at least, they heard someone say sorry.
I want to apologise unreservedly to anybody who is continuing to suffer or has suffered unimaginable loss because of mistakes that were made within our health agencies.
Her apology came after a scathing 320-page report from the Inquiry Commissioner Brett Walker, who described the decision to deem the ship a low risk, meaning in effect do nothing, as inexplicable as it is unjustifiable, and called the delay in obtaining test results for the swabs inexcusable.
Clearly, those circumstances should and will never happen again in New South Wales because of the lessons learned.
She's promised to adopt all recommendations, but says the health officials involved won't be disciplined.
Many people were thrown into situations they hadn't experienced before, and I'm not excusing the mistakes made because clearly some people should have acted differently.
It has had a toll on those individuals.
And it's not over. The police investigation to determine if there was criminal negligence is still underway.
The questions that were asked of the Special Commissioner of Inquiry are certainly different to one when you're investigating criminal negligence.
10 News First can reveal a class action being brought by Shine lawyers seeking compensation from Ruby Princess owners. Carnival Australia and Princess Cruises now has over 900 passengers taking part. It will first appear for a case management hearing in front of 2 federal court judges on September 8th. Ken and Catherine are taking part. They say they want the cruise line to pay for their role in this disaster.
They've been able to say it's not our fault, but I don't think that's the case.
Ursula Hager for 10 News First.
Well, fears of COVID transmission between students has led to tough new rules at schools. Formals, graduations and even choirs and wind instruments are now banned at all New South Wales schools. Schools remain the big focus across Sydney, with another one, Sydney Girls High, closed for cleaning after a positive case. Of the 7 cases diagnosed today, 3 are connected to a cluster at a restaurant in Smithfield, while there are more alerts for venues across the west.
Class was out and the masks were in at Sydney Girls High today. The Moore Park School is the latest to close its doors and send staff and students into isolation after a confirmed COVID-19 case. The closure happened right in the middle of HSC trials. Another complication, Sydney Boys High, right next door, sparking fears students may have shared more than just a campus.
We just continue what we're doing and hope everything's all right on the other side.
We're pretty separate all the time. We don't interact much.
Today, new pandemic rules were unveiled for both public and private schools statewide.
And I apologise in advance to parents and school communities if this causes them further restrictions, but it is to maintain ongoing safety.
From Wednesday until at least the end of Term 3, students will be restricted from mingling with anyone outside their own year group. There'll be no choirs, singing or woodwind instruments. Sporting carnivals will be limited to 100 people, with no parents and no spectators. There'll be no formals, dances or social events, and that includes graduation events. The one exception, a Year 12 graduation assembly, with no parents invited.
The new restrictions will place challenges on our schools, there's no doubt about that, but they must be adhered to if we're going to get on top of this pandemic.
Right from the start, politicians have claimed
that schools are safe environments.
But with so many cases and closures, it's now clear they're concerned.
We've always said that children can catch COVID, so I've always been very careful that they are safe environments, but they are not necessarily free of COVID.
Today, New South Wales recorded 7 new cases, a small increase on yesterday after a week trending downwards, but still in single digits.
My anxiety remains the same, if not slightly higher, because every week we've had an accumulation of undetected or unsourced cases.
The new cases include another 3 connected to the Chopsticks restaurant at Smithfield RSL. Today, Parramatta Local Court reopened after a security guard with the virus worked there on Wednesday. An infected person was also at the DFO at Homebush on the morning of August 8 and Woolworths Metro at North Strathfield at lunchtime the same day.
Having low levels of grumbling transmission of this virus just poses so much risk.
And large gatherings such as this one on the rocks at Maroubra Beach yesterday don't help. Police broke it up and today fined the organiser $1,000. Health officials say their aim is clear.
To actually get down to no community transmission.
Until we reach that point, Queensland says it won't be reopening the border. Now, the Chief Health Officer today revealed that many of the recent confirmed cases they've dealt with initially just thought they had the flu rather than COVID-19. The reality, they say, is that there is not much influenza doing the rounds in New South Wales this winter. So the likelihood is if you've got those flu-like symptoms, chances are it's COVID-19, not just the flu.
So go get tested. Dan Sutton, thank you. The inquiry into Victoria's bungled hotel quarantine got underway again today. It's already revealed hotel security guards were not required to wear masks. Now, that news came as Victoria saw a bleak new record for deaths in a single day. Australia's 25 new deaths are all in that state. 22 of them are connected to aged care facilities. In better news, though, new infections continue to trend downwards, with 282 recorded in the past 24 hours.
Even if COVID cases are stabilising, the death toll isn't, with the Premier yet again opening his daily briefing with devastating news.
25 families that will be planning a funeral, and our thoughts and prayers, our best wishes, our hearts go out to them.
22 of the deaths were residents from aged care. COVID has killed 334 Victorians in less than a month.
In better news, though, of course, to have another sub-300 day is good.
282 new cases today, 657 in hospital, 44 in intensive care. COVID is producing other adverse statistics. A stage 4 lockdown makes home a very dangerous place to be for victims of domestic violence. Police have arrested thousands of perpetrators in the past fortnight.
That's resulted in over 558 people being charged.
Hundreds more people have been fined for breaching curfew.
This is an ultra-marathon and we just have to keep pushing forward each and every day.
The Premier included. The judicial inquiry into hotel quarantine commenced today with some jaw-dropping evidence. It was revealed a test used to train quarantine security guards asked if masks were mandatory. Answering yes was marked as incorrect.
Clearly this is misleading for healthcare workers or quarantine staff if they thought that they didn't need to wear a mask when I would consider it crucial.
It's hoped the inquiry will get to the bottom of how Melbourne's COVID catastrophe unfolded.
When it comes to seeing ministers in the box, when it comes to seeing potentially premiers in the witness box, Will the tough but necessary questions be asked?
If I'm called, I'll be there. I have not been, but if I were called, I'll be there.
Natasha Exelby for 10 News First.
Well, meanwhile, New Zealand has postponed its elections to tackle a second wave of COVID-19. The country will now go to the polls on October the 17th, after both Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern's coalition partner and the opposition leader sought the delay.
I do need to provide certainty, a sense of fairness and a sense of comfort to voters that this will be a safe election. And I do think a little extra time to assure them of that is important as well.
New Zealand recorded 9 new infections today and now has 78 active cases. The country at one stage went more than 100 days without a single new case. Well, he's meant to enforce the law, but a junior Sydney policeman tonight faces the sack after allegedly causing a drunken crash. It's claimed he smashed into 6 cars, while 2.5 times the legal limit, injuring 4 people, including a baby. Now the force is being accused of giving the off-duty constable special treatment.
Smashed up cars and a conga line of tow trucks stretched hundreds of metres as this busy leg of the Princes Highway was reduced to a crawl.
I didn't expect to be that much damage, so many cars involved.
People getting out, starting to argue with each other. It's just like a big mess.
A mess which police say wasn't caused by just any drunk driver, but one of their own. A 21-year-old off-duty cop who allegedly ploughed his $80,000 BMW into 5 other vehicles, including Ben Osborne's.
I've seen him taking off in the distance, but from what I've been told, there's a few other cars that got hit as well.
CCTV appears to show the officer's sedan mounting a gutter, then hurtling towards the 4 other cars. The impact caused minor injuries to 4 other people, including a 21-month-old girl and her parents.
These police officers are supposed to be on the road and looking after the people.
After being arrested here and taken to nearby Sutherland Police Station, the officer allegedly blew .126, more than 2 times the legal alcohol limit. Once charged, he was able to walk free. A decision that has angered those caught up in the chaos.
Had it been me or you, we would have been sleeping in the cells last night.
Police deny that, but the Commissioner is vowing to delve deeper into those concerns.
I would certainly be disappointed if he was given special treatment, but happy to look at it.
The officer's duty status is under review tonight. His licence has been suspended.
I was angry at first, and I'm probably a bit more angry now. Now I know what's the true story behind it all.
Michael Hammond for 10 News First.
Well, meanwhile, a 4-wheel driving adventure has ended in a marathon rescue mission for 4 mates who got stranded in the Nepean River near Penrith. By the time they were saved, they were suffering hypothermia.
Shivering but now safe after a rescue mission that lasted well into the night. 4 mates became stranded together around 7 last night, surrounded by water almost as high as their 4-wheel drive.
Ryan, all the lights over here, please.
They could only wait for help to arrive.
They were on the roof and then made their way not far off to an isolated island where they were trapped.
Police say they'd been trying to cross the swollen Nepean River at Emu Heights when they got stuck, having already driven around a locked gate and made it through 2 other crossings.
Not the greatest idea, I don't think, at night time, but yeah, I don't know, some people are a bit more crazy than I am.
The water was rising quickly and it was fast flowing and very cold.
The men first called a friend for help, only his car was soon stuck too, triggering a much larger emergency response. As the men waited in the dark and cold for help to arrive, an emergency helicopter helped pinpoint their exact location as they meanwhile shouted out to crews on the ground.
The 4 persons were treated for a little bit of hypothermia by paramedics on the scene here.
It's not the only recent rescue. Yesterday at O'Connell near Bathurst, 3 people were plucked from the roof of a ute, also no match for these waters. Meanwhile, back at Emu Heights this afternoon, 1 car was finally salvaged, but resurrecting the other one will be a whole nother mission. Alice Hogg for 10 News First.
Well, 40 years ago today, a baby girl, Azaria Chamberlain, was killed by a dingo in the centre of Australia. Her mother later wrongfully jailed for her murder. 10 News First has spoken exclusively to the man who found Azaria's bloodied jumpsuit at Uluru. The key witness explaining how the vital evidence was mishandled by police. Well, Hannah Ford joins us from Uluru. Hannah, after all this time, do we really know the full story yet?
Well, still after all these years, it seems we don't, and perhaps we never will. And that's because of the way things were handled that night here at The Rock. We've spoken to witnesses who say they feel like victims of the justice system too. Now, it's incredibly eerie being here almost exactly the time 40 years ago that all hell broke loose. It's been 40 years since Lindy Chamberlain screamed out, "A dingo's got my baby." Those 5 words were splashed across newspapers and TV, but very few believed them. Even today, some still don't.
I totally agreed at the time that I thought she was guilty.
I've got no doubt now that that's actually what happened.
100% thought she was guilty, but now I'm just not sure.
With no sign of Azaria's body, as well as ignorance and contempt for the Chamberlain's Seventh-day Adventist faith, rumours and suspicions quickly surfaced, and the public feasted on them.
One of the stories was Azaria meant sacrifice in the wilderness. I mean, the stupidity was boundless.
Lindy Chamberlain was eventually jailed for murdering her baby girl, and Michael was found guilty of helping her. That's despite key witnesses such as Wally Goodwin never getting the chance to tell the jury what he saw or did. He found some of Azaria's clothes at Uluru a week after she vanished.
And there it was in front of us, blood-stained around the collar area. So I immediately knew what it was.
That jumpsuit was vital evidence. Mr Goodwin says police handled the clothing and even rearranged them before taking any photographs.
I said, well, none of these photos show the way the clothing was found. And they said, well, why not? And I said, oh, Constable Morris picked them up. He said he had to identify them as Azaria Chamberlain's.
These revelations are being explored by a new documentary that will air on Channel 10, where Lindy herself has opened up.
You're in the car and somebody said, oh, I wouldn't have stayed there, you know, I wouldn't have sat there, I'd have been out searching, I'd have been this and that. We were out searching until the cop said, you have got to stay here.
The revelations about how the authorities behaved, how the government authorities, police authorities, is just jaw-dropping.
Where this happened is just over my shoulder, about a kilometre away. It's now a closed Indigenous community. The feelings among locals about that night is still incredibly painful and raw. They haven't and won't speak her name. Lindy Chamberlain still wants the official apology she never received from the NT government.
I think she will. I think they're too pig-headed.
The case may be closed and Lindy and Michael cleared, but the pain of Australia's greatest miscarriage of justice never ends, and Lindy still has much more to say.
And I assure you it won't be boring.
Hannah Ford for 10 News First, Uluru.
And you can catch an even more detailed look into the Chamberlain case in a special 10 News first-person podcast, including more interviews with the key players then and now. You can get it at 10 Speaks or wherever you get your podcasts. Stay with us, still to come, the fresh New South Wales health bungle that has triggered major privacy concerns. The new training facility teaching police how to take down armed offenders. A policeman flipped into the air by a car, the incident caught on camera. Coming back in the polls as the US election approaches, the gap narrows between Trump and Biden. And what big election promise is Scott Morrison set to break? We'll have those details coming up next.
I see a red door and I want it painted black. No colors anymore, I want them to turn black.
Hands down, one of the best performances ever on this show. Goosebumps from the very first second.
I have to take the knee before you, Queen.
I don't know where you pack it, because you're a tiny packet, but there's a big voice in there.
Dance for me, dance for me, dance for me, oh, oh.
was incredible. God, you swear it was Tones and I actually singing it.
It's my life. The first two celebrities have been unmasked.
Mark Villapusa! It's Michael Bevan!
Who will be next?
Take it up!
A masked singer shock reveal on 10.
TV's biggest mystery continues 7:30 tonight.
Performance you've never seen before. Safety you've never seen before. This is the SUV you've never seen before. The all-new MG HS.
Damazin! For when the kids are sneezing. And you've got things to get to.
When cold and flu strikes, Damazin gets it done.
I had one of my apprentices tell me, you know, you can regrow your hair these days. I didn't sack him. Cheeky.
Reached your turning point? The doctors at Ashley and Martin could help regrow your hair.
We're late.
I need coffee.
Hungry Jack's $2 medium coffee is all about great taste and getting it exactly when you need it most. Try our new, richer, better tasting $2 medium coffee all day at Hungry Jack's.
Now is our chance to protect tomorrow. Our families, our hands, our homes, our way of life. Let's look after ourselves and each other the way we have for generations. We need to protect what we love and who we love, because protecting those moments is in our hands.
It's all happening at Kinsman right now, where you can save a bundle on your new Kinsman kitchen. Book your free design consultation today at kinsman.com.au.
No matter how they sleep, take comfort that Huggies newborn nappies with Huggies Dry Touch Layer quickly absorbs runny poos. And our super soft outer cover provides our best care for your newborn's delicate skin. Huggies, be comfortable in your skin.
Welcome back. The state's police will be better skilled to take down armed offenders with the opening of a new world-class training facility at Goulburn. Costing $8 million, the centre puts police through hyper-realistic scenarios where they face attacks ranging from domestic violence to terrorist incidents. The training processes, copied from the American FBI, have been taught in New South Wales since 2015. The unlicensed driver whose speeding caused a scary collision inside the M5 tunnel has today apologised to his victims. And it worked in his favour, the judge delaying the sentencing of the father of two, instead challenging him to stay trouble-free while on bail.
It was a dramatic crash which narrowly avoided serious injury and was caused by an unlicensed Livigisatone Mayafua, who today said he regrets ever getting behind the wheel.
I'm sorry.
And it is that remorse that will see the now 22-year-old at this stage spared more jail time. You told me you were truly contrite and wanted to change things, Judge Warwick Hunt said, challenging the offender to stay offence and alcohol-free before determining how his 18-month punishment will be served in December.
Do you think the judge is being quite kind on you?
Sorry, no questions.
Mayafua not only caused the crash but held up the Good Samaritan that stopped to help and stole his car. It was found torched hours later.
You will never think that will happen, like in your life, like someone's going to pull out a knife and just steal your car if you're coming to help. It's putrid. It's a putrid act.
Mayafua was arrested days later and spent 9 months in custody before being released to a rehabilitation centre. And despite leaving early, he says he recognises the importance of the program.
Yeah, get some help. There's people out there to help you.
The court heard that during his incarceration in maximum security at Park Lee, the father of two witnessed the murder of a fellow inmate, and therefore his lawyer argued that sending him back into custody would crush him. The judge agreed, telling Mayafua, if you commit a further offence, you are saying I want a period of full-time imprisonment imposed on me. He'll be formally sentenced in December. Kimberly Pratt for 10 News First.
Well, in Canberra, there were two hot topics today. First, the growing signs the Morrison government will break an election promise and block planned rises to your superannuation. And second, how Scott Morrison's home builder scheme appears to have fallen flat on its face. Here's our political editor, Peter Van Onselen.
Worrying signs today for the construction sector, with the Master Builders Association warning of a collapse in the number of new homes being built.
A bloodbath, and that's with the government's home builder scheme already factored in. They announced this scheme almost 11 weeks ago and still not one single application's been approved.
The Master Builders are crying out for the government to extend its home builders scheme, so far without any luck. Meanwhile, on radio this morning, the minister responsible for superannuation, Jane Hugh, said that she was ambivalent about super rising to 12%, as has already been legislated. The rise is due to take effect incrementally in the coming years.
To hear from the minister responsible for superannuation this morning that she's ambivalent about committing to an election promise, that she's ambivalent to implementing the legislation that Parliament has already enacted, is nothing short of outrageous.
A growing number of government MPs, however, do want the legislation reversed, especially now that wages are being stifled by the pandemic. Labor is having none of it.
We just want to confirm that Australian Labor is 100% committed to protecting the retirement savings of working Australians.
If there are plans afoot to change the government's policy on super, one minister certainly didn't get the memo.
That's our policy and we're sticking with it.
Sticking with it until they don't. Peter Van Onselen for 10 News First.
Marina Ivanovic is watching your traffic tonight. Marina, an accident on the M4 has caught your eye.
Yes, Hugh, we're hovering above Marylands on the M4, having a look at the city-bound run. We've spotted a multi-vehicle accident. As you can see here, it's in the breakdown lane just past Burnett Street. Majority of it has cleared, and you're seeing one of the last cars being put on the back of a tow truck now. City-bound traffic not moving too badly behind it. We are seeing westbound traffic quite slow at the moment on the approach, but those delays don't go too far back. And if heading through Narrabeen, we do have a breakdown for the Gore Hill Freeway. That's heading southbound. I'm Marina Ivanovic in the Tassal Salmon Traffic Chopper.
Now here's something. Warragamba Dam has reached capacity, spilling over for the first time since 2016. It's welcome change. In February, the dam level had dropped to just 42% as a result of severe drought conditions. Sydney's water supply has risen by about 8% in just the last week alone. Let's go to the weather now with Amanda Jason. And Amanda, good to see the dam spilling over, but a bit of a chill in the wind today.
There certainly was, Hugh. Even though we reached 21 degrees, the temperature remained feeling like around 6 to 7 degrees cooler than what it actually was. Now, that was all thanks to the wind chill factor. At the moment, the temperature is sitting at 17 degrees, but it still only feels like 11 degrees. It's all been thanks to these cooler west to south westerly winds that have been prominent over the state. It's thanks to a low pressure system that's spinning off into the Tasman. That's maintaining that cool wind flow and allowing those temperatures to have a bit of a chill in the air. Meanwhile, in the Bight, we have a cold front and a low pressure system moving through. That's bringing some windy conditions and patchy rain to South Australia and also to Victoria and even western parts of New South Wales. Now, across the state today, we managed to get to 22 degrees in Lismore, 20 in Newcastle, just 9 degrees in Orange. Although it reached 21 degrees across the city today, we got to just 9 degrees across Katoomba. Will the warmer temperatures actually warm up? I'll let you know a little later in the bulletin, Hugh.
Fantastic, Amanda. Thank you. Coming up next, why Donald Trump's enemies accuse him of planning to sabotage the election. Smashing the men's world record, meet the Australian woman who has made history. And one for MasterChef fans, why this sheep that doesn't grow wool is being called the Wagyu of lamb. Looking at today's petrol prices around Sydney, the cheapest we found was at Marrickville. That was for just under 98 cents a litre. The average price across the city tonight is $1.08.
Tuesday night, taco preparations begin. A dominant female wrestles with a guacamole, whilst her counterpart has found an alternative to beef mince. With grace, they settle into their nest for the evening.
Find out why Australia's fallen in love with our new Masked Singers.
Goosebumps from the very first second.
You want someone to love you, I will love you. I would love to take you home.
A Masked Singer shock reveal, 7:30 tonight.
on 10.
The Australian Government is extending JobKeeper and the temporary coronavirus supplement for those on income support. From September, financial support will be targeted for those who need it most, with some changes to payment amounts and eligibility. JobKeeper continues until the 28th of March next year, and the coronavirus supplement until the 31st of December 2020, because helping Australians find or keep work helps our economy reopen. For more information, visit australia.gov.au. Authorised by the Australian Government, Canberra.
Keeping your dog safe from parasites should be easy.
Let's go!
Because when they're out doing what they love, you want to know they're protected. That's why more Australian pet owners and their dogs love NexGard Spectra, the most complete parasite protection in one tasty chew. NexGard.
Stream queens who can't miss a single episode. If data is what you desire, Vodafone is for you. We put forth 50 gigs of data for $35 a month for the first 12 months. You rule with Vodafone.
This is not a normal adventure race. Mountains, jungles, ocean, and it is brutal.
We actually want to get out there and suffer and feel alive.
It blows my mind. It's so inspirational.
Creating the ultimate memories sometimes means creating the toughest stains. Omo Ultimate attacks tough stains first time. And new Omo Odour Eliminator removes sweat stains and fights bacteria growth. Try our gold standard.
2020 is full of twists and turns, but with renowned Mitsubishi reliability, you'll always know the road ahead. Score 7 years warranty and 3 years free servicing. That's more time to have the time of your life.
With a multi-layered shock-absorbing sole and premium-grade leather, Steel Blue boots don't need wearing in. Backed by 100% comfort guarantee, they put a spring in your step from day one. Steel Blue boots, built for comfort, made for work.
Everyone knows Australia has 4 big banks, but the 5th biggest retail bank is regularly voted one of the most trusted brands in Australia, looks after more than 1.8 million customers and can be found in over 500 locations nationwide. So try Bendigo Bank, the better big bank.
When you're at the end of your day, drive into Macca's for your weekly deal. Grab 2 small quarter-pounder meals for just $9. Only on the My Macca's app. Hurry in, ends this Sunday.
Tonight, Ursula, Glenn and Ash are being put to the test with Ed and Sam on new Have You Been Paying Attention?
Pablo Escobar's biggest secret revealed. A son hidden from the world finally speaks out. How he discovered the truth about his drug kingpin dad.
Plus, the next unmasked celeb is with us live tomorrow on Studio 10.
American lawmakers are having their summer break cut short, called back to Washington to vote on emergency measures to protect, of all things, the US Postal Service. Democrats are accusing Donald Trump's allies of slowing down the mail, so millions of votes sent by post for the upcoming election don't make it on time. Our US correspondent Eamon Ashton Atkinson explains.
Donald Trump leaves Air Force One with his wife Melania and son Barron. The president tries to hold the First Lady's hand, but she's not having a bar of it. The awkward moment coming just a day after Trump's youngest brother passed away.
The president loved his brother very much, and he was able to see him the day before yesterday.
The Trump campaign had hoped today's headlines would be about his Middle East peace deal, but all questions were on the US Post Office.
OK, again, I hope we'll get to talk about Middle East peace in a minute.
More than half of all Americans are expected to vote by mail in November, and the Postmaster General, a Trump donor, is implementing cutbacks that are slowing down the post.
He's trying to streamline the post office and make it great again.
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi is recalling her colleagues and has promised to hold an emergency vote to stop what she calls dangerous new policies that threaten to silence the voice of millions, calling on Trump's appointee to testify.
And if Mr. DeJoy refuses to appear,
he should be stamped return to sender.
Tomorrow is the first day of the virtual Democratic Convention. For 3 nights, keynote speakers will dial in, including the Obamas and the Clintons. Then on Thursday, Joe Biden will make his acceptance speech. Donald Trump has his own programming planned, no doubt boosted by CNN's latest polling, which shows Biden's 14-point lead has evaporated to just 4 in the space of a month. Eamon Ashton-Atkinson for 10 News First, New York.
Special Forces troops have ended a siege inside a Somali hotel after it was targeted by terrorists linked to al-Qaeda. Heavily armed al-Shabaab militants stormed the hotel owned by a local MP, taking guests hostage and executing several of them. The Somali government's top troops then fought their way in, but at the cost of at least 10 civilian lives and an unknown number of militants. This is the second al-Shabaab attack in Mogadishu in a week. Only days ago, a shootout at the prison killed at least 20. More than 10,000 people have taken to the streets of Bangkok demanding government reform, chanting "Down with the dictatorship." The student-led protest is the biggest Thailand has seen in years. Demonstrators want a new constitution, more rights to free speech and reforms to the monarchy. Anyone currently criticising Thailand's royal family faces up to 15 years in jail. In Belarus, hundreds of thousands of protesters are demanding the president resign. It follows days of violence after authoritarian leader Alexander Lukashenko claimed victory in the presidential election. Russia has offered security assistance to Lukashenko if any foreign military force tries to intervene. A Japanese bulk carrier that has leaked hundreds of tons of oil off the coast of Mauritius has now broken apart. At least 90 tons of oil remains in the wreck, and it is now seeping into the water in what is being called an environmental emergency. The MV Wakashio ran aground in a sanctuary for rare wildlife just over 3 weeks ago. And a spectacular waterspout has been filmed churning across Britain's Bristol Channel. Stretching down hundreds of metres from the storm clouds above, the water tornado several times hit the surface. Waterspouts are unusual in the area, with only a handful reported in the last decade. Still to come, the privacy bungle sparking concern at New South Wales Health. Centimetres from death, a world champ's spine-tingling near miss at the MotoGP. And the shocking moment, an officer is thrown from an allegedly stolen car.
It's my life. The first 2 celebrities have been unmasked.
It's Michael Bevan!
Who will be next?
Take it up!
A masked singer shock reveal. 7:30 tonight on 10.
A 28-minute bike ride needs the same amount of energy as it takes to power 3 gaming consoles. What powers you? Uncle Toby's, Australia's favourite oats. The goodness of oats with a blend of nutritious ingredients. Try Uncle Toby's Super Blends.
Oh, filthy water! Keep it clean with the new Sabco Rinse and Ring Microfiber Mop Set. It's twin wash and dry power blades, clean and dry the mop, hands-free. Keep it clean with the Sabco Rinse and Ring Mop Set.
I am into this plant-based thing. Might give No Meat Mondays a crack. Just got to figure out what day it is. Peg! Do you know what day it is?
Try the new plant-based range at 7-Eleven.
Yes, of course. Duty calls.
I need your keys and your motorcycle.
Where are we going, Mel?
Home, James.
Oh, Terminator.
Who is it, honey?
entertainment you love, all in one place. Yours.
In life, there are those that say they'll do and those that actually do. Choosing Insurance Keith, it's worth a closer look. Some don't offer free roadside assist for a year, but Amy does with a new Amy Comprehensive Car Insurance Policy.
Hello, Keith.
Some don't have one dedicated home claims manager, but Amy does. Easy choice, really, hey, Keith? Go with the doers. Amy does.
Lucky you're with Amy.
Can you feel the anticipation building? It's the beginning, when everything is possible. One brick could build upwards, outwards, into a multi-story high-rise or modern hotel. Solving one problem could lead to solving, well, bigger problems. Teaching math lessons could lead to teaching life lessons. And what if empathy could empower you to save lives? Just take a moment, pause, and see that everything could happen.
There's only one thing to look for. Choose a super fund with this symbol.
We're all in this together.
You have beautiful eyes.
Thank you.
Will Lockie fall for the intruder?
I think it would start World War III, man. Wait, is World War III already happened?
Wednesday.
Tonight's top stories, a big apology. The Premier says sorry to those who have suffered in the Ruby Princess disaster, especially due to mistakes made by New South Wales Health, but she says the officials involved will not be disciplined. Tough new rules for schools across the state to stop the spread of COVID-19, with formals, graduation ceremonies and choirs now among the things banned. And Victoria's deadliest day, 25 lives lost in just 24 hours, 22 of them linked to aged care. Questions are being asked about how New South Wales Health handles personal information after an application for a border permit was forwarded to a member of the public. 10 News First can reveal when the privacy breach was first reported. Authorities denied it was even possible.
As a Melbourne resident in lockdown, Russ Mulry applied for a permit to cross the border into New South Wales. Last Friday, his application was denied. While disappointed with the outcome, it's the rejection email he received that alarms him most.
Attached to that email was someone else's emails that they have sent to New South Wales Health.
Below the correspondence meant for him is an exchange between someone else and the Quarantine Exemptions Unit. Dated last Wednesday, the two emails reveal the person's name, email address, where they wish to travel and their application number.
How many other people has this happened to? It appears from the email that they're just copy and pasting.
When he called Service New South Wales to report the error, Russ says he felt accused of lying, told it couldn't have happened.
And she basically was like, no, that will not happen. Like, we take privacy very seriously, and basically tried to deny that I had received this.
Within the hour, though, a health official called back, apologising for the mix-up. While Russ was offered an apology last week, 10 News First understands Health has not reached out to the other person involved to tell them their information has been released, let alone say sorry.
For New South Wales Health not to contact them when they had all their details is disgusting.
Someone else who wasn't told, Health Minister Brad Hazzard.
Sorry, I don't know anything about that particular matter, but I'll immediately ask to have a close look at it.
And the Health Department has just confirmed it is now taking a very close look at itself. In a statement to 10 News, New South Wales Health says it takes people's privacy very seriously and this matter is being investigated. It goes on to say the Quarantine Exemptions Unit is experiencing a very high volume of applications and that unit inadvertently forwarded correspondence regarding another person's request. Hugh, in an important statement, it does say here New South Wales Health has now been in contact with this individual and they have apologised.
A day for apologies. Lachlan Kennedy, thank you. Well, shocking footage has emerged of a Melbourne police officer being flung metres into the air after trying to intercept the driver of an allegedly stolen car. The policeman can be seen trying to wrestle the driver out of the stationary four-wheel drive before it reverses. He's then thrown into the air. somehow escaping with only minor injuries. The driver sped off with the car found dumped not far from the scene. The accused was arrested a short time later and, in a twist, has since tested positive to COVID-19. He's been charged and is now in isolation. A Sydney busker has been found guilty of luring a teenager into his unit and raping her. Glenn Ian Morrison unsuccessfully fought 5 of 6 sexual assault allegations. He met the 13-year-old on a bus ride from Manly to Rosebery. He then took her inside his home, gave her alcohol and attacked her. He will be sentenced in October. Time for a traffic update with Marina Ivanovic. Marina, what can you see?
Well, Hugh, we've moved across to a congestion hotspot, and that indeed is the M5 through Moorebank. We're having a look at the outbound delays, which are the headlights coming towards us, approaching Moorebank Avenue, and it's really struggling as usual, and those delays are back into Padstow. And if you're heading through Mascot, we've got wires down to watch out for Riminton Street, and that's causing delays in both directions. I'm Marina Ivanovic in the Tassal Salmon Traffic Chopper.
On to sport now, Matt Burke is here with all the day's news. And Matt, it seems the NRL is still dealing with racism in the game.
Yeah, that's right, Hugh. Good evening, sadly, but yes. But the players are making a stand, calling for life bans. Plus, a high-speed crash in the MotoGP that left the world stunned that no one was seriously hurt. And good luck finding these balls for the golfers as a blanket of fog plays havoc at the US Amateur Championships.
Tuesday night, taco preparations begin. A dominant female wrestles with a guacamole, whilst her counterpart has found an alternative to beef mince. With grace, they settle into their nest for the evening.
The next steps in fixing Australia's media issues with diversity.
I see a red door and I want it painted black.
Hands down, one of the best performances ever on this show. Goosebumps from the very first second.
A Masked Singer shock reveal tonight.
There's a glass and a half in everyone.
Protect the skin that's protecting you. Healthy skin starts with Cetaphil Moisturizing Cream. Its unique hydrating formula doubles skin's moisture in just 2 days, so your skin can be healthy skin. Healthy skin starts with Cetaphil.
For 72 hours only, save a massive 30% off store-wide at Spotlight. Yes, that's 30% off Manchester home decor, fabrics, crafts, party, curtains and blinds store-wide. So decorate it, celebrate it and create it for less. Sale on now. At Spotlight, it's what you make it.
Dreaming of an over-50s sea change or tree change where the weather's warm, the mood's relaxed and every day's a holiday? Palm Lake Resort offers luxury homes, world-class facilities and welcoming communities of like-minded neighbours. Visit palmlakeresort.com.au.
Now is our chance to protect tomorrow. Our families, our hands, our homes, our way of life. Let's look after ourselves and each other the way we have for generations. We need to protect what we love and who we love, because protecting those moments is in our hands.
Big Jack, now at Hungry Jack's. Bigger, better, flamier. Special sauce and flame-grilled Aussie beef. Think you can handle it? Meet the Mega Jack. For a limited time at Hungry Jack's, the burgers are better.
What makes Nature's Way Adult Vitagummies seriously good? Is it their multivitamin with 14 key vitamins, minerals and nutrients? Or 99% sugar-free calcium with vitamin D for strong bones, teeth and muscle health? Maybe it's their hair, skin and nails Vitagummies to support collagen production. Or maybe the delicious flavour. For your daily health boost, choose Nature's Way Adult Vitagummies. They're seriously good.
The V-Comb A1 is cordless, chemical-free and easy to use. You can see the results straight away. Its hands-free disposal means no mess or fuss, user-friendly and stops head lice from coming back. Available in pharmacies. Always read the instructions for use, follow the instructions for use.
Getting back on the road is something we're all looking forward to. And at Toyota, we're here to help you do just that. That's why our dealerships are still open. And if you are looking for a new Toyota, you'll find that we've got an offer that's just right for you.
The Kluger range is now in run-out, so get in while stocks last.
Like to know more? Come in and ask us, or head to toyota.com.au.
Oh, what a feeling. Toyota. Tonight, Ursula, Glenn and Ash are being put to the test with Ed and Sam on new Have You Been Paying Attention?
Good evening. Panthers teammates say they're super proud of Brent Naden. The players have joined a chorus of calls for lifetime bans for those who allegedly hurled racial abuse at him. The NRL is still investigating the incident and, if proven, has vowed to come down hard on anyone found guilty.
If he was still rattled from those alleged vile comments, you couldn't tell. Brent Naden having a ball at the foot of the mountains today.
I didn't want to talk to him about it, but I just told him I loved him and... not just words among boys.
Only 24, but mature enough to call that behaviour out.
When I was at that age, I would have went in my own shell. So for him to do that and speak up, super proud. I think he did the right thing, and he's showing other people who are faced with that, that is the right thing to point it out.
The NRL is still investigating, and the Panthers are calling for lifetime bans.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's probably the only justifiable outcome. I think there should definitely be repercussions, and I definitely don't think there's any excuse for racial slurs or anything like that.
Fan behaviour is becoming a real issue. Anthony Seibold hired lawyers and cyber experts to investigate vicious rumours circulating about his family. He should know who started it all in the next 24 hours.
You get told you have a crap game, fair enough. But when you're talking about race, family, just vile... low blow comments like that, that's not good enough.
And this isn't your average footy injury. Joel Thompson had surgery after biting his own tongue in Sunday's match. Somehow he's not expected to miss any matches. Emma Lawrence for 10 News First.
Kevin Proctor will plead not guilty to biting allegations at the NRL judiciary tomorrow night. The Titans captain remains adamant he didn't bite fellow Kiwi Shaun Johnson. Meantime, the Broncos just can't catch a break. Star forward Payne Haas will miss the clash against the Dragons, accepting a 2-match ban.
Yeah, they just can't seem to do anything right at the moment, whether it's things off the field or injuries or blokes getting suspended. It just doesn't seem to be going well.
And Proctor's one of 3 players to face the judiciary tomorrow night. It was a lucky escape for 9-time world champion Valentino Rossi after a high-speed crash involving 2 other riders almost killed him at the Austrian MotoGP. The 41-year-old admitted he was scared and shaken before he climbed back on the bike to finish 5th.
A crash 8 laps in. Down the track, Valentino Rossi dodged bike-sized bullets.
Oh, Rossi! Dearie me. Rossi's dodged it. I cannot believe it. Valentino Rossi here. Watch that. My goodness me. My goodness. By fractions. Oh!
Both Rossi and Maverick Vinales ahead of him became moving targets for the freewheeling Ducati and Yamaha.
Very, very scary. We have to pray to somebody this night. Because the situation was very dangerous.
Rossi was critical of the 2 riders racing so tight, around 280 kilometres per hour. No one was injured, while Andrea Dovizioso won the race with Aussie Jack Miller 3rd. Earlier, the Moto2 race included a dangerous hurdle.
Oh, goodness me!
Malaysian rider Hafiz Syiaran lucky not to suffer more than an injured hip.
That was horrific.
Lewis Hamilton turned the Spanish Formula One Grand Prix into a procession. Runner-up Max Verstappen blew a gasket with his Red Bull engineer over tyres and strategy.
I don't care, just tyres, there's nothing left. How about we just focus on our race first, yeah, instead of looking for Lewis. We just make sure we do our job and let them do their job.
Get your head down, Max, please.
While Daniel Ricciardo finished 11th, Hamilton won by 24 seconds, cruising past Michael Schumacher's record of 155 podium finishes, and now just 3 victories away from the Germans' all-time record of 91 wins. Charles Christian for 10 News First.
A bad weekend for Manchester football teams. United followed City out of European competition, beaten 2-1 by Sevilla in the Europa League. It's the third time the Red Devils have been knocked out in the semi-finals this season. Now, golf is hard enough at the best of times. Playing golf in a blanket of fog in the final of the US Amateur Championship, well, that's just about impossible. Naturally, there were a few lost balls in the match play decider and, surprisingly, some touches of brilliance.
Just threw this right up into the air, into the breeze, see if it gets there.
Oh, wow, it nearly went in.
And that was Charles Osborne with the near ace, but it wasn't enough. Tyler Strafacci taking the win, earning invitations to all 4 majors next year. And Hugh, I don't know how they do it. In the dark?
Yeah, I still think it's easier to play golf than it is to ride one of those motorcycles.
Well, yeah,
Thanks very much, Matt.
Yeah, well done.
Scary business. Coming up next, Dr. Quinn, medicine woman, also known as Jane Seymour. She's going to tell us what it's like to make a movie in the middle of a pandemic.
Comedian Ross Noble's on the way, and look, anything could happen. Next.
Out of everyone, you're the girl that I'm chasing. It's the most heart-racing season ever. And it's got everyone talking.
I hate to say it, but yeah, she probably is a threat. I think it would start World War 3, man. Wait, is World War 3 already happened?
The Bachelor, 7:30 Wednesday.
At Coles, you can rely on us for your corn chips and for fixing your chipped bumpers. With Coles Comprehensive Car Insurance, you get quality repairs you can trust. Search Coles Car Insurance today.
Not now.
Be amazed by your child every day. Nan Supreme Toddler. Our most advanced, easy-to-digest formulation with probiotics. Nan Supreme Toddler. Nourishing your child.
What if you're missing information about meningococcal disease, a rare but potentially deadly and devastating illness, most common in infants and adolescents? Speak to your doctor for more information about meningococcal disease, because missing information could mean missing out on a whole lot more.
For 72 hours only, save a massive 30% off store-wide at Spotlight. Yes, that's 30% off Manchester home decor, fabrics, crafts, party curtains and blinds store-wide. So decorate it, celebrate it and create it for less. Sale on now. At Spotlight, it's what you make it.
Introducing the Energizer Vision LED headlamp, featuring a powerful adjustable beam of light with our unique digital focus. It's perfect for any hands-free activities in or outside the house. Versatile and easy to use, pick up the Energizer Vision LED headlamp today.
I know I'm not up to date with all that's going on, and I don't measure up to what I ought to be. But when I'm with you, I feel 10 feet tall inside. Honey, you're something, you're really something I need. Yes, you're something, really something.
Keep your memories alive for future generations. Memories.com.au, where memories keep living.
Oh, filthy water? Keep it clean with the new Sabco Rinse and Ring Microfiber Mop Set. Its twin wash and dry power blades clean and dry the mop, hands-free. Keep it clean with the Sabco Rinse and Ring Mop Set.
Hands down, one of the best performances ever on this show.
A Masked Singer shock reveal tonight.
A little-known Australian sheep breed with hair instead of wool is leading the charge for a new breed of exporters. Today it was the star attraction as the state government unveiled new $10,000 grants for small to mid-sized businesses.
Since the 1950s, they've been our great woolly saviours.
These days, Australia rides to new heights of prosperity on a sheep's back.
And we're back there with one of our newest export success stories, but with one big difference. Margra sheep have hair instead of wool, bred specifically for their meat.
Thought, why do we need wool on the sheep? Not being able to get shearers in from New Zealand to help shear the sheep. These sheep shear themselves, the hair falls off them.
After 3 generations of farming in Oberon, central New South Wales, Graham Gilmore and his brother invented the Australian white sheep.
We put 4 breeds together to make one. We've done in excess of 20,000 embryo transfers.
Its micro-marbled meat has been dubbed the finest lamb in the world.
I ate it and thought it was one of the best lambs I'd ever eaten, ever. The amount of omega-3s, it has completely different properties, and so when you eat it, the mouthfeel is an absolute revelation.
Traditionally, when you're cooking lamb, you remove the fat, but with this breed, it's critical to keep it on because it melts at a temperature 6 degrees lower, and that's what keeps the meat so lean and clean. And delicious. In the past 3 months, they've secured more than 1,000 US clients online. And today, the state government moved to help other small businesses savour similar exporting success with a new $12 million Going Global package.
What I would call a boot camp for those that want to look at export markets.
But also to give them grants of up to $10,000 to help with things like marketing their products overseas.
Even if their product is a little hairy. Ali Donaldson for 10 News First.
Time for more weather with Amanda Jason. Amanda, any more of that sunshine we had today?
There will be a little more of the sunshine, Hugh, but there is also the chance of a shower moving through in the early hours of tomorrow morning. We'll take a look at that in just a second. For the moment, we'll have a look at the satellite image. Firstly, a large area of cloud that's moving through the southeast is all associated with a low pressure trough and cold front that's currently bringing some rain and winds to South Australia and Victoria. Now, eastern parts of New South Wales have been pretty clear today, but we have seen a low pressure system in the Tasman driving in a cooler west-southwesterly wind flow. Tomorrow, we'll actually see those winds beginning to turn from the northwest as they warm up ahead of a cooler change and a cold front. So the temperature tomorrow should actually feel a little warmer across Sydney. In the way of rain, we'll see some light showers over the inland moving into eastern parts of New South Wales for a period overnight tonight and throughout the first half of tomorrow. And then we'll see things easing back, mainly staying on or west of the divide by the time we get into the afternoon. Elsewhere across the country tomorrow, it will be sunny in Brisbane. We'll hit a top of 25 degrees. We'll see showers in Melbourne and Adelaide. A cloudy day ahead for Hobart with a top of 14 degrees, while for Perth we'll see showers increasing with a top of 17 degrees. Across the state tomorrow, those showers will linger over the southern inland. We'll see them heaviest along the southern slopes and ranges where we could even see a thunderstorm. Isolated showers are possible for the southern half of the coast. And so that means for Sydney tomorrow we will see the chance of a morning shower. As I've mentioned though, those winds coming from the northwest means it hits a top of 21 degrees and the temperature should feel a little closer to that tomorrow than what it did do today. A top of 22 degrees in Penrith, 21 degrees in Campbelltown. There is a slight chance of an afternoon shower approaching once again through western and southern suburbs throughout the afternoon. But generally we are seeing any showers we do see will be throughout the morning. Temperatures overnight will dip down to 10 degrees. We'll see those temperatures warming up through the day to a top of 21 degrees. Once those morning showers clear, we will see some finer conditions returning. So plenty of sunshine on offer, a little bit of cloud lingering through in the afternoon. And then throughout the evening, we will see clearer conditions. And that could be the trend into the rest of the week, but I'll have more details on that a little later in the bulletin.
Making news right now, an apology from the Premier over the Ruby Princess disaster. But will health officials pay for their many mistakes? New rules for all students across the state to try to stop COVID spreading in our schools. Coming up, what kids now can and can't do. And on the 40th anniversary of her child's death, Lindy Chamberlain reveals what life is like now. Well, Premier Gladys Berejiklian has apologised unreservedly to the victims of the Ruby Princess disaster, vowing she will implement all recommendations from a scathing Special Commission report. But the Premier says no health official will be disciplined over the fiasco, despite admitting they made serious mistakes.
In the almost 5 months since they stepped off the Ruby Princess, 28 people have lost their lives and 663 passengers in Australia alone contracted the virus. Now, finally, they've heard the words many needed to hear.
Can I now apologise unreservedly to anybody who suffered as a result
of the mistakes that were outlined in the report undertaken by individuals within the Health Department or the Health Agency.
Her apology came after a scathing 320-page report from Inquiry Commissioner Brett Walker, who described the decision to deem the ship a low risk, meaning in effect do nothing, as inexplicable as it is unjustifiable, and called the delay in obtaining test results for the swabs inexcusable.
Fortunately, Mr Walker says, and I want to stress, that there weren't systemic issues.
She's promising to adopt all of the recommendations but won't discipline the health officers involved. They could still be subject to a criminal investigation being undertaken by 13 officers from New South Wales Police.
The questions that were asked of the Special Commissioner of Inquiry are certainly different to one when you're investigating criminal negligence.
Many people were thrown into situations they hadn't experienced before, and I'm not excusing the mistakes made because clearly some people should have acted differently.
10 News First can reveal a class action being brought by Shine lawyers seeking compensation from Ruby Princess owners. Carnival Australia and Princess Cruises now has over 900 passengers taking part. It will first appear for a case management hearing in front of 2 federal court judges on September 8th. 2 passengers taking part are Ken and Kathy Reid. Ken contracted COVID-19 on board and says he feels the cruise line didn't do enough.
The ship's medical log was not up to date, and that was a critical issue in New South Wales Health deeming it low risk and then allowing us to disembark.
They want the Ruby Princess's owners to be held responsible.
They've been able to say it's not our fault, but I don't think that's the case.
Ursula Hager for 10 News First.
Well, no formals, graduation ceremonies or social events. Those are the tough new rules placed on schools across the state by authorities as they desperately try to prevent another widespread COVID outbreak. Schools continue to be a big focus across Sydney, with another one, Sydney Girls High, closed for cleaning after a positive case. Of the 7 cases diagnosed today, 3 are connected to a cluster at a restaurant at Smithfield, while there are more alerts for venues across the west.
A cliff-top gathering with more than 50 people dancing to a very different beat to health officials. Police shut down the Maroubra party yesterday and today fined the organiser $1,000.
Having low levels of grumbling transmission of this virus just poses so much risk.
Today, New South Wales recorded 7 new cases, a small increase on yesterday after a week trending downwards, but still in single digits. One at Sydney Girls High, where today class was out and the cleaners were in. The closure happened right in the middle of HSC trials. Another complication, Sydney Boys High, right next door, sparking fears students may have shared more than just a campus.
We just continue what we're doing and hope everything's all right on the other side.
Today, the government announced new school rules effective Wednesday. Students will be restricted from mingling with anyone outside their own year group. There'll be no choirs, singing or woodwind instruments. Sporting carnivals will be limited to 100 people with no parents and no spectators. There'll be no formals, dances or social events, and that includes graduation events. The one exception, a Year 12 graduation assembly with no parents invited.
And I apologise in advance to parents and school communities if this causes them further restrictions, but it is to maintain ongoing safety.
The new restrictions will place challenges on our schools, there's no doubt about that, but they must be adhered to if we're going to get on top of this pandemic.
Today there were 3 new cases connected to the Chopsticks restaurant at Smithfield RSL. Parramatta Local Court reopened after a security guard with the virus worked there on Wednesday. And Queensland stood firm on interstate travel.
We do not have any intentions of opening any borders whilst there is community transmission.
One big problem here, confirmed cases who think they just have the flu.
At the moment, we have very low rates of influenza circulating. So if you have symptoms, respiratory symptoms, it is most likely that you have COVID.
Now, in the past few minutes, a new public health alert has just been issued, this one for the Sydney markets at Flemington. The issue here is that a worker was there while infectious on Sunday the 9th of August, last Sunday. The positive test, though, only came through yesterday. New South Wales Health says they have already contacted everyone who was a close contact and told them to self-isolate. Everyone else who was there last Sunday between 8 a.m. and 4 p.m. needs to watch for symptoms. The markets have been thoroughly cleaned. Hugh?
Flemington Market on August the 9th. Dan Sutton, thank you. Well, they're supposed to uphold the law, but last night an off-duty police officer caused quite a stir after he allegedly crossed onto the wrong side of the road, causing a 6-car crash. The 21-year-old constable was allegedly 2.5 times over the alcohol limit when he ploughed into 5 other cars on the Princes Highway at Blakehurst.
I got hit and I seen him taking off in the distance, but from what I've been told, there's a few other cars that got hit as well. Had it been me or you, we would have been sleeping in the cells last night.
The officer's driver's licence has been suspended and his duty status is currently under review. 4 men have been rescued from the Nepean River west of Sydney after their four-wheel drive was swept into the waters at Emu Heights. Scared for their lives, the driver and his 3 passengers managed to climb onto the roof of their Ford Ranger before seeking refuge on a nearby island. They phoned a mate for help, but when he also got stuck, the SES and police helicopter were called in.
4 persons were treated for a little bit of hypothermia by paramedics on the scene here, and they've been released home.
1 car was salvaged, finally, but resurrecting the other one will be another mission altogether. On the 40th anniversary of the death of the baby Azaria Chamberlain at Uluru, Lindy Chamberlain says she still cops abuse. The mother who lost her child and then her own liberty in one of the great miscarriages of Australian justice says she has learned never to judge others too quickly. Once you've been accused of murdering your own child, it never ends.
It's only about 3 weeks ago since I got my last dingo howls.
40 years on from the loss of her firstborn daughter, abuse is just one thing Lindy Chamberlain has learned to live with.
I pretty much ignore it. What's the point? They've got the problem, not me.
The mystery is why she was later disbelieved when no one on that first night had any doubt.
It was an accident waiting to happen, basically, and unfortunately it happened to poor little Azaria.
Bobby Elston was the nurse at Uluru and she knew firsthand of the dingo dangers.
One bit a little, about a 3-year-old boy in the ear, and I'd heard of another child that had been dragged out of a car by a dingo.
She was told to be ready to help if Azaria was found alive.
I think Lindy had a blanket around her and Michael was sort of pacing around a little bit.
The Chamberlains wouldn't leave until police knew which hotel they'd be at. Then Lindy and the boys went in one car and Bobby jumped in with Michael in their yellow Tirana, in the very seat the Crown would later claim where a baby had just been murdered.
There was nothing in that car that indicated to me anything was amiss.
The Crown claimed tests later showed the blood of a young baby was sprayed across the footwell, while the scientist who challenged that evidence simply wasn't believed.
Scientifically, the case was an absolute failure.
The blood samples later turned out to be milkshake residue and sound deadening sprays, but that was later. Lindy Chamberlain was jailed for murder.
In some ways it feels like 100 decades, and in other ways it only feels like yesterday.
A royal commission not only exonerated the Chamberlains but put much more pressure on future murder prosecutors to come up with a motive.
If you were going to charge someone with murder, it was a good idea to say why they did it. And if you had no reason for them to do the murder, you had to really worry about whether they did it at all.
Bobby Elston says Lindy Chamberlain survived something she should never have had to endure.
It was not necessary. It was bad enough that they lost their little Azaria, and then all this other stuff happens to them, and it shouldn't have. It should never have happened.
And we investigate the Chamberlain case much further in a 10 News first-person podcast, including more exclusive interviews with key players. You can get it at 10 Speaks or wherever you get your podcasts. Stay with us. Coming up next, the first local blockbuster back in production featuring the Hollywood legend Jane Seymour. In sport, the Titans captain to challenge the send-off over that alleged biting incident. And Australian swimming has a new legend with a record-breaking crossing of the English Channel.
We chat to the Aussie swimmer who's dominating the English Channel and breaking records along the way. Plus, comedian Ross Noble drops by with your weekly dose of weird.
Australia, the little treehouse is alive at Coles. And to celebrate, you can instantly win a share of millions of prizes guaranteed. Like awesome treetop adventures in a real-life luxury treehouse. Plus travel vouchers, adventure activities, gift vouchers and many, many more. To win, simply purchase 3 participating products in one transaction. Enter the code on your receipt online and you're guaranteed to win. Coles, good things, great value.
At HCF, Australia's largest not-for-profit health fund, we know the importance of care when it counts. That's why eligible members can access our holistic mental wellbeing program with the flexibility to choose what works for you. HCF, that's uncommon care.
Hello Fresh. Delicious meals delivered to your door with pre-portioned fresh ingredients. Now you can focus on what's really important. Order your box today. Hello Fresh. Inspiration delivered.
Geeks to you saved my life.
Actually, I just saved all these photos. This PC had a virus.
Geeks to you set up, synced up and sorted out my world.
Well, her IT world at least.
With our new improved download speed, we're streaming every night.
Is there no end to their problem-solving powers?
If there is a problem we can't fix, you don't pay.
They may be geeks to you, but they're miracle workers to me.
Call 1300 Geeks to You and we'll come to you.
Oh, filthy water. Keep it clean with the new Sabco Rinse and Ring Microfiber Mop Set. Its twin wash and dry power blades clean and dry the mop, hands-free. Keep it clean with the Sabco Rinse and Ring Mop Set.
Take a moment to experience bliss. Smooth melting Lindor. Melt into a moment of bliss from Lind.
At the first sign of cold and flu symptoms, reach for Sambicol to help shorten colds by up to 3 days. Sambicol with black elderberry. It's Aussie Mum's #1 choice to help the family feel better faster.
At Coles, you can lower the cost of your weekly shop with thousands of specials across the store this week, like Colgate 360-degree toothbrushes 2-pack and Finish Quantum Ultimate Pro tablets, now half price. Coles, good things, great value.
Tonight, I'll be... Shh, Leighton Hewitt. Tonight, I'll be eating chili pesto gnocchi, garlic bread and a chocolate mousse.
It's the show bringing the laughs every Monday night.
I reckon I've got a sexy voice. Like, listen to this. Oh, right. Sam, get your shirt off.
So join Ursula, Glenn and Ash as they bring sexy back with Ed and Sam on New Have You Been Paying Attention? Tonight.
Well, if your business is making movies, the pandemic has left things very quiet. But gradually, New South Wales is getting back to show business and the thousands of jobs it provides. First cab off the rank is Ruby's Choice, starring Hollywood actress Jane Seymour.
This is not Jane Seymour's first pandemic.
There's every reason to believe that these germs are highly contagious.
One of the very first episodes of her hit show Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman, seems strangely familiar, even down to the panic buying.
It really isn't fair to Horn.
The beauty of Dr. Quinn was literally every subject we deal with today, we dealt with back then in 1870.
But now the 69-year-old actress is starring in Ruby's Choice, the first movie to go into production in New South Wales since COVID-19.
They got me a special visa to come and do this movie, which was awesome. And in return, I had to do, like everyone else, 2 weeks of isolation and quarantine in a hotel that they choose at the last second.
Then there are the on-set rules.
So they're ready to wear masks?
Yes.
They're ready to sanitise?
And it did add some dollars to the budget. But to a T, every single person involved agrees it's worth it to be back at work. The Emmy and Golden Globe winner plays Ruby, a grandmother with dementia.
It's a beautiful story about this woman who really impacts positively the entire family at a time when they are devastated and don't know what to do with her.
And the former Bond girl is in demand. After Ruby's Choice, she has 3 series and another movie lined up, plus there's talk of a Dr. Quinn reboot.
How does that happen to a woman who's almost 70?
Ruby's Choice will open in cinemas next year, and 50% of the profits will be donated to dementia research. Angela Bishop for 10 News First.
Well, more companies gave their updates to investors today on how COVID-19 is affecting their bottom line. For some, they are laughing all the way to the bank. For many others, though, the outlook is a lot gloomier. Gillian Bowen has all today's finance news.
Hello there. Reporting season is in full swing, and some of the results today help illustrate the divide of COVID-19. For some of our retailers, it's good news. JB Hi-Fi has recorded a profit jump of 21% to more than $302 million, clearly benefiting from people being stuck at home. So is online retailer Kogan.com. Its profit is up 56%, but there's pandemic pain elsewhere. Bendigo and Adelaide Bank's profit is almost halved, the virus increasing its bad debts. BlueScope's profit has fallen 91%. Australia's biggest steelmaker says there's a high level of uncertainty given how COVID-19 could disrupt demand, supply chains and operations. While construction giant Lendlease has swung from a profit to a loss, mandated building site shutdowns hitting hard. Investors liked JB Hi-Fi's results. Harvey Norman had a good day too. Banks and tech stocks were a drag, the local share market closing down 50 points. Round 2 of the early release super scheme is delivering people a bigger payment. The average amount is just under $8,500 for repeat applications. In round 1, it was about $1,000 less. Since April, superannuation funds have made 4 million payments to their members, totalling $31.1 billion. To the dollar, it's stronger against the major currencies. And if you think petrol feels cheaper, you're right. Prices at the pump are the lowest they've been in 2 months. And that's finance.
Time for more sport now with Matt Burke. And Matt, we saw something in the NRL today we haven't seen for quite a while.
Yeah, that's right, Hugh. Good evening. It was about 2 years, in fact. It was the incident over the weekend which saw the send-off get dusted off. But Titans captain Kevin Proctor is going to fight the bite and plead not guilty the NRL judiciary tomorrow night.
The first player to be sent off for biting, Kevin Proctor's already in the history books for the wrong reasons. But the Titans captain today declared he'll fight to clear his name in what's said to be a huge test case for the NRL at tomorrow's judiciary meeting. Payne Haas won't appear, accepting the early plea for dangerous contact this afternoon.
That's all Brisbane needed. Haas, the crusher tackle.
He'll miss the Dragons and Roosters matches, adding his name to a long list of troubles for the Broncos this season.
Yeah, they just can't seem to do anything right at the moment, whether it's things off the field or injuries or blokes getting suspended. It just doesn't seem to be going well.
The Dragons are no stranger to pressure. Today's session, their first under interim coach Dean Young. But Hunt concedes it's a whole different ballgame for the second last Broncos.
If things go bad up there, it's everyone's coming off the back fence at you and having their say and whatnot.
The Storm remain the only highlight for the Queensland-based NRL sides. Off contract at season's end, Maroons forward Christian Welch has confirmed he's in talks to stay with Melbourne after signing on a manager to do the deal.
It was a little bit difficult, to be honest, and a few people kind of spoke to me about it. And, you don't do your own tax return, you go to see an accountant for that. So it kind of made a bit of sense.
Veronica Eggleton for 10 News First.
Veteran rider Valentino Rossi was critical of the two rivals whose bikes almost killed him at the Austrian MotoGP. The 9-time world champion was in the line of fire following their collision.
Oh, Rossi! Deary me. Rossi's dodged it. I cannot believe it.
We have to pray to somebody this night because the situation was very dangerous.
Andrea Dovizioso won the race. Aussie Jack Miller finished third, while in Formula One, Lewis Hamilton took out the Spanish Grand Prix, now 3 wins away from Michael Schumacher's all-time record of 91. And Australian swimming has a new legend. Chloe McArdle has toppled the men's world record for the most swims across the English Channel. Overnight, she completed her 35th crossing in just under 11 hours. She set off from Dover in the southeast of England, climbing back on terra firma in northern France, before returning to her crew, complete with an Aussie flag. It's her fourth crossing in 16 days. Her extraordinary effort sees her swim away without play of the day. Hugh, time for a rest and time for a hot shower, I think.
Extraordinary, just extraordinary
Very
effort.
good.
Thank you, Matt. Coming up next, how the weather is shaping up for your week ahead.
I see a red door and I want it painted black.
Goosebumps from the very first second.
Somebody, can anybody find me somebody to love?
I got one of the best performances ever on this show.
That is an international voice.
That was incredible!
Mask up, Australia, for a massive shock reveal. 7:30 tonight on 10.
So I'm going to have one side of my face have laser skin resurfacing and the other side L'Oreal Revitalift laser cream, and we'll see if the results compare. I actually feel my skin looks much, much better than it did 4 weeks ago on both sides. You can get similar results without the pain.
Revitalift Laser from L'Oreal Paris.
Aussie kids, are we big kids? Aussie kids, are we big kids? Aussie kids, are we big kids?
Do you see a neighbourhood? We see a walking track. This September, take 10,000 steps a day, any way you like. To support people living with cerebral palsy, join us at steptember.org.au.
Oh, filthy water. Keep it clean with the new Sabco Rinse and Ring Microfiber Mop Set. Its twin wash and dry power blades clean and dry the mop, hands-free. Keep it clean with the Sabco Rinse and Ring Mop Set.
Introducing the Energizer Vision LED headlamp, featuring a powerful adjustable beam of light with our unique digital focus. It's perfect for any hands-free activities in or outside the house. Versatile and easy to use, pick up the Energizer Vision LED headlamp today.
Domino's $5 pizzas are incredible value. 7 awesome recipes, all made with fresh dough, vine-ripened tomato sauce, and stretchier, tastier mozzarella. $5 pizzas, no voucher required. At Domino's.
Discover ideas and inspiration for healthy living with NIB's The Checkup. Get expert tips on at-home workouts, healthy recipes, and how to mentally recharge. Available to all Australians. Search NIB's The Checkup today.
Not till after dinner. Oh, did he? Right, yeah. All right, just fine.
There's a glass and a half in everyone.
Coming to you live from the scene. Tell us what you've got there. Toilet paper?
Nah, just dinner stuff.
Right. You must have paid an unprecedented price for that during these unprecedented times.
Nah, they're from Aldi. Prices are always low.
Let's just go.
Whatever happens, our low prices are here to stay. Aldi. Good. Different.
Up next, online scammers at an all-time high, targeting vulnerable people hit hardest by the pandemic. We chat to the Aussie swimmer smashing the men's records over in the English Channel, and if possible, things are getting a little nuttier when comedian Ross Noble joins us for a chat. The Project next.
Good evening. I hope you're having a great start to the week. It was feeling a little on the cooler side today. It was thanks to those west-southwesterly winds. Tomorrow, the winds begin turning from the northwest, which means the temperature will feel a little warmer. We have showers over inland parts of the state tomorrow for a period that will get into eastern parts of the state. Mainly through the morning is when we'll most likely see those showers, but there will be plenty of sunshine on offer as well. So showers tomorrow across the southern inland, particularly along the slopes and ranges, and then the chance of a shower or two for the southern half of the coast and mainly through the morning. Newcastle looking to remain dry though, partly cloudy and 21. Showers for Wagga Wagga, a shower or two for Canberra with a top of 13 degrees. The north of the state though remaining fine. Clear skies and a top of 23 for Lismore, partly cloudy and 19 degrees on the way for Tamworth. Across the city tomorrow we'll see the chance of a morning shower, but that will clear out to a partly cloudy afternoon with a top of 21 degrees. Winds increase on Wednesday, a windy day. Fine for most of the day with the slight chance of a shower and a top of 21. Another windy but sunny day ahead on Thursday with a top of 18 on Friday, and then the start of the weekend could be a bit of a chilly one. Tomorrow in our west we'll see the slight chance of a morning shower, then a fine top of 21 degrees. There is the slight chance of an afternoon shower developing though for southern suburbs and western suburbs. Wednesday will be a bit on the windy side, a top of 20 degrees but remaining fine, 18 and partly cloudy on Thursday, and then those temperatures begin to ease off a little through the second half of the week. Thank you, Hugh.
Amanda, thank you very much. That is 10 News First for this Monday, the 17th of August. From all of us here at the 10 News team, thanks for joining us. Hope you have a great night.